holographic image flickered to life across every screen on Earth. Billions of humans stopped what they were doing and stared. The creature on their screens was tall, with skin that shimmered like oil on water, and eyes that seemed to hold 3 pupils each. It wore robes that moved on their own, as if alive. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the creature said. Its voice was smooth, almost musical. "I am Ambassador Vel-Thuin of the Galactic Ascendancy. I speak for the Galactic Council, which governs 847 civilized species across this galaxy." In the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva, Director G1 sat frozen in her chair. Around the conference table, world leaders from every nation wore the same expression of shock. This was it. First contact. They had detected alien signals 3 months ago, but nothing had prepared them for this moment. "Your species has recently achieved faster-than-light communication," Vel-Thuin continued. "This achievement triggers Protocol 4471 of Galactic Law. You are hereby classified as a juvenile species in need of guidance and protection." Admiral Tai Yang, commander of Earth's defense fleet, leaned forward. Something about the alien's tone bothered him. It sounded like a teacher talking to children, not like an equal meeting another equal. "The Galactic Council extends to you a place in our great civilization," Vel-Thuin said. "However, to ensure peaceful integration, certain requirements must be met. Within 72 hours, Earth must dismantle all military forces. Your weapons will be collected and destroyed. Your governments will dissolve and submit to Council authority. You will be assigned mentors from advanced species to guide your development." G1 felt her blood run cold. This wasn't a greeting. It was a demand for surrender. "This is for your own good," the alien added, as if reading her thoughts. "Young species often harm themselves and others. The Council prevents such tragedies. We have successfully integrated 63 species through this process. Not one has regretted joining our family." The hologram showed images of alien worlds, cities of crystal and light, ships that moved through space like living things. It was beautiful. It was also a threat. "If you refuse," Vel-Thuin said, his voice hardening, "we will implement forced integration. Your planet will be blockaded. Your infrastructure will be seized. Resistance will result in the loss of many human lives. Please understand, we have done this before. We are very good at it." The transmission ended. For 3 full seconds, nobody in the conference room spoke. Then everyone spoke at once. Admiral Tai Yang activated his wrist communicator and began issuing quiet orders to his fleet commanders. G1 raised her hand for silence and got it. "Options?" she asked. The Secretary General of the Pacific Union spoke first. "We have to comply. Did you see their ships? There are 200 warships in orbit right now. We have 58 vessels, and most of them are exploration ships with basic weapons. So we just give up?" This came from the European Federation representative. "Surrender without even trying?" "Trying what?" The Pacific Union Secretary shot back. "We've had FTL travel for 3 years. 3 years. These people have been traveling the stars for thousands of years. It's not even a fight." G1 looked at Admiral Tai Yang. "Military assessment?" Tai Yang stood and pulled up a holographic display. "Their fleet formation is standard blockade positioning. They're not expecting resistance. In terms of pure firepower, they outgun us 20 to 1. Maybe more, so we lose. In a direct fight, yes," Tai Yang said slowly. "But wars aren't always won by the strongest. They're won by the most determined." Across the solar system, Captain Mireille was bringing her ship back from Deep Space Patrol. The exploration vessel Defiance had been 3 months out, mapping asteroid fields near Neptune. The recall order had been urgent and unexplained. Now, as she guided her ship toward Earth, she saw why. The alien fleet hung in space like a school of massive fish. Each vessel was easily 3 times the size of her ship. Their hulls were smooth, organic-looking, and they pulsed with light. Beautiful and terrifying. "Captain, we're being hailed," her communications officer said. A new alien face appeared on screen. This one had more traditional features, almost reptilian. "Human vessel, you will power down your weapons and submit to inspection. This is not optional." Myray glanced at her weapons console. The Defiance had 2 plasma cannons and a basic missile array. Barely enough to fight off pirates. "Negative," she said calmly. "This is a United Earth military vessel. We don't submit to foreign inspections." The alien's eyes widened. "You dare refuse? Power down immediately, or you will be fired upon." Myray cut the transmission. "Get us home," she told her pilot. "Full speed." Back on Earth, G1 had called in one more person. Scientist Doyan entered the conference room looking nervous. He was young, barely 30, but he ran the most classified project in human history. "Tell them," G1 said simply. Doyan swallowed hard. "For the past year, we've been working on something called quantum displacement. It's like teleportation, but not exactly. We can move matter from one point to another almost instantly within a limited range." The room erupted in questions. Doyan raised his hands. "It's not perfect. The range is short, maybe a few thousand kilometers. It takes enormous energy, and we've only tested it on small objects. The largest thing we've displaced is a satellite." "How large could you go?" Taiyang asked. "Theoretically?" "Anything. A ship, a city." Doyan paused. "A planet." G1 leaned back. "Could we weaponize it? We already have. Small scale. A ship could jump in, fire weapons, jump out. Hit and run tactics." "Against 200 warships," the Pacific Union Secretary said. "Hit and run won't be enough." "No," G1 agreed. "But it might buy us time." She looked around the table. "I want a vote. Do we surrender, or do we fight?" The vote took less than a minute. It was unanimous. 72 hours later, G1 stood before the cameras again. This time, she was broadcasting to the aliens. Velthuin appeared on the main screen, looking smug and confident. "Director Gawan," he said, "I trust you are prepared." "To announce Earth's acceptance of Council membership?" G1 looked directly at him. "No," the alien blinked. "I'm sorry?" "No," G1 repeated. "Earth refuses your offer. We will not dismantle our defenses. We will not surrender our sovereignty. We will not submit to Council authority." Velthuin's expression shifted from confusion to anger. "You cannot refuse. This is galactic law." "Your law," G1 said, "not ours. Humanity has fought for its freedom for thousands of years. We didn't climb from caves to the stars just to kneel before someone else's empire." "You are making a terrible mistake," Velthuin said coldly. "You doom your species." "Maybe," G1 said, "but we'll die free. Earth's answer is no. Come and try to take what you think you own." She cut the transmission and turned to Admiral Taiyang. "Launch everything. Show them what humans do when backed into a corner." Across Earth, every military installation activated. Satellites armed themselves. Ships left their docks. Defense platforms went hot. And in orbit, the alien fleet suddenly found itself surrounded by active weapon locks. Ambassador Velthuin stared at his displays in disbelief. In 2,000 years of Galactic Council history, no species had ever said no. Battle Commander Raxton stood on the bridge of the Council flagship and tried to understand what was happening. His screens showed dozens of human weapons pointed at his fleet. Small things, primitive things, but weapons nonetheless. The humans were actually threatening him. "This is absurd," he muttered. His tactical officer, a nervous creature from the Hive Worlds, chirped in agreement. "Orders, Commander?" The officer asked. Raxton considered. Ambassador Velthuan wanted a demonstration of power. Nothing too harsh, just enough to make the humans understand their situation. Destroy a few military bases, maybe one or two of their orbital stations. Avoid civilian casualties. Then wait for the inevitable surrender. Target their military installations on the northern continent, Raxton ordered. Fire when ready. But before his ships could fire, the humans attacked first. Captain Myray watched her tactical display light up. The Defiance was one of 12 human ships in attack position. They were outnumbered 30-1 just in this sector. Her crew knew the odds. They attacked anyway. Activate displacement drive, she ordered. Jump pattern alpha. Engineer Hyan-Wu's hands flew over his console. Displacing in 3, 2, 1. The Defiance vanished from its position and reappeared 5,000 kilometers away, directly behind a Council patrol ship. Myray didn't hesitate. Fire everything. Plasma cannons blazed. Missiles launched. The Council ship's shields lit up like a star, absorbing the damage. But the shields weren't expecting an attack from that angle, from that range. They flickered and failed. The missiles punched through the hull, displacing again. Hyun-Woo shouted. The Defiance jumped away just as return fire tore through the space where it had been. On Murray's screen, she saw the Council ship venting atmosphere, dead in space. First blood, Lieutenant Yoonji said quietly from the pilot station. 1 down. 50 to go, Myray replied. Next target. Across the battle space, human ships were appearing and disappearing like ghosts. The Council fleet had never encountered anything like this. Their sensors would lock onto a human ship, then it would vanish. Seconds later, it would appear somewhere else entirely, weapons blazing. Rex then watched 3 of his ships take damage in the first minute. "What is that?" he demanded. "How are they moving?" "Like that?" "Unknown technology, Commander," his tactical officer said. "Our sensors show a quantum signature before each jump, but nothing in our database matches it. Then adapt. Route power to point defense systems. Increase shield coverage. And for the Ascendancy's sake, shoot back." The Council fleet began to respond. They had better weapons, better shields, better everything. When they hit a human ship, it died. The problem was hitting them. The humans moved in patterns that made no sense, appeared in locations that should have been impossible, and fought with a ferocity that shocked the Council forces. Lieutenant, Yoonji piloted the Defiance through a debris field at a speed that made Hyun-Woo grip his console. "You're going to kill us before the aliens do," he shouted over the comm. "Trust me," Yoonji said calmly, threading the ship between 2 chunks of a destroyed satellite. Behind them, a Council destroyer tried to follow and clipped its wing on the debris. It spun away, temporarily out of control. "Crazy human," Myray heard one of the alien commanders say over the captured comm channels. "They fight like demons." She smiled grimly. "They have no idea." But the humans were losing. For every Council ship they damaged, they lost 2 of their own. The Defiance took a direct hit that knocked out their port shields. Another human vessel, the Soul's Pride, took critical damage and began to break apart. "This is Soul's Pride." The captain's voice came over the emergency channel. "Hull breach on all decks. Life support failing. We're done." Myray watched helplessly as the crippled ship drifted toward a Council cruiser. Then she saw what the Soul's Pride was doing. It wasn't drifting. It was aiming. "Reactor overload detected on the Pride," Hyun-Woo said quietly. "They're going to ram." The Soul's Pride hit the Council cruiser at full speed. The reactor detonated. The explosion was visible from Earth, a brief new star in the sky. When it cleared, both ships were gone. "Confirmed kill on enemy cruiser," someone reported over the comm. The voice was shaking. 13 Council casualties so far. Human casualties at 41 ships. Admiral Tai Yang heard the reports from his command center on Earth. They were being slaughtered, but they were making the Council pay for every inch. And more importantly, they were buying time. Status on the displacement network? He asked. 4 more hours until full charge, a technician replied. Dr. Doyon says we can't rush it. If we try to activate early, it might tear the planet apart. 4 more hours. Tai Yang pulled up the fleet status. They had 17 ships left. In 4 hours, they might have none. All ships, he broadcast. This is Admiral Tai Yang. I know the odds. I know what I'm asking. But Earth needs 4 more hours. Can you give them to me? The responses came in one by one. Every ship, every captain, every crew said yes. Captain Narration took the Defiance into its 15th displacement jump. The ship was barely holding together. Hull breaches on 6 decks. 1 engine dead. Shields at 18%. But Hyun-woo kept it running through skill and stubbornness. 1 more jump, Hyun-woo said. Maybe 2. Then the displacement drive burns out. Make them count, Narration said. They appeared behind another Council ship. This one was ready. Point defense turrets swiveled instantly and opened fire. The Defiance shook as rounds tore into the hull. Yoonji twisted the ship sideways, presenting the smallest target, buying seconds. Narration fired everything. The Council ship's shields held, but they were weakening. She fired again, and again. The shields failed. Her plasma cannons melted into the enemy hull. Displacing now. Hyun-woo hit the button. Nothing happened. Drive is offline, he said. We're stuck here. The Council ship fired back. The shot hit the Defiance dead center. Alarm screamed. The lights went out, then emergency power kicked in. Hull breach, main deck, someone shouted. Life support failing. Narration pulled herself up from where she'd been thrown. Blood ran down her face. Yoonji, can we move? 1 engine, barely, Yoonji replied. We're not outrunning anything. Then we don't run, Narration said. She opened the fleet channel. This is the Defiance. We're dead in space. But we can still fight. All ships use us as cover. We'll keep shooting until we can't. Captain, we should evacuate, Hyun-woo said. No escape pods, Narration said. They'd be picked off. We stay. We fight. The Defiance became a fixed gun platform. Other human ships used it as a shield, darting in and out, using its bulk to block enemy fire. Naration's crew kept shooting even as their ship fell apart around them. Then something strange happened. The Council fleet stopped advancing. They pulled back. What are they doing? Yoonji asked. On the Council flagship, Rex then was getting his first real casualty report. 26 ships destroyed or disabled. Hundreds of crew members dead. And these were supposed to be primitive humans who barely understood space travel. Commander, his tactical officer said nervously, recommend we withdraw and regroup. These humans are more dangerous than anticipated. We don't withdraw from primitives, Rax then snapped. But he was thinking. His orders were to demonstrate superiority, not take heavy losses. And humans had just destroyed almost 15% of his force. Cease fire, he ordered. Pull back to defensive formation. I need to contact the Council. Across the battle space, the firing stopped. Human ships and Council ships faced each other across kilometers of vacuum, weapons hot, both sides bloodied. On the Defiance, Narration slumped in her chair. They were still alive. Barely. Why did they stop? Hyun-woo asked. Narration looked at the tactical display. The Council had stopped because they were afraid. For the first time in their long history, they had encountered prey that bit back. Because, she said, They're not sure they can win anymore. The council chamber was in chaos. Ambassador Velthuin stood before the assembled representatives of 847 species and tried to explain how a primitive backwater world had just destroyed 26 warships. They have some kind of short-range teleportation, he said. Our sensors barely detect it before they jump, and they fight with complete disregard for their own safety. That's what you tell us? The Hive Mother's voice was sharp. That they're lucky and suicidal? We gave you 200 ships. 26 are gone. Explain that. Velthuin had no explanation. In 2,000 years of council operations, no newly contacted species had ever inflicted such losses. Most surrendered immediately. A few tried token resistance. None fought like the humans. Battle Commander Raxton has requested reinforcements, Velthuin said. I recommend we grant this request and crush the humans before they become a larger problem. The council voted. It took less than 10 minutes. 150 more warships would join the fleet at Earth. This time, there would be no restraint. The humans would be broken. On Earth, Dr. Doyan watched his screens and tried not to think about the impossible thing he was about to attempt. The quantum displacement network was spread across the planet. Thousands of nodes, all synchronized, all building up charge. In 3 hours, they would try to move the entire planet. This is insane, said one of his assistants. We've never displaced anything larger than a satellite. Now we're trying to move 6 septillion tons of rock and metal. Plus the atmosphere, Doyan added helplessly. And the moon. Can't forget the moon. What happens if it fails? Doyan didn't answer. If it failed, the planet would likely tear itself apart. Continental plates would shift. Volcanoes would erupt. Oceans would boil. It would be the end of everything. But if they didn't try, the council would do that job for them. Admiral Taiyang stood in the command center and looked at what remained of his fleet. 17 ships. That was all. 17 against 350, because the council reinforcements had just arrived. It's over, someone whispered behind him. We can't fight that many. Taiyang turned and looked at his staff. Young faces, scared faces, but determined. You're right, he said. We can't win, but we can buy 3 more hours. That's all Earth needs. And then what? His tactical officer asked. Even if Dr. Doyan's plan works, we'll be stranded wherever we end up. Then we'll be stranded together, Taiyang said. And we'll be free. He activated the fleet channel. All ships, this is Admiral Taiyang. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a suicide mission. We're going to take our 17 ships. Against their 350, we're going to draw them away from Earth and keep them busy for 3 hours. Most of us won't survive. He paused, choosing his words carefully. But our children will. Our families will. Earth will. And someday, they'll tell stories about what we did here. About the day humanity said no to an empire and meant it. So let's give them a good story. The responses came in. Every ship volunteered. Every captain accepted their fate. Taiyang felt pride and grief in equal measure. All ships, he ordered. Attack formation. Let's go make history. The 17 human ships accelerated toward the council fleet. It should have been a slaughter. In a way, it was. But not the slaughter the council expected. Captain Myray had transferred her flag to the destroyer Inchin's Fury after the Defiance had become too damaged to fight. Her new ship was faster, meaner, and had a working displacement drive. She took it straight into the heart of the council formation. Displacement in 3 seconds, called out her new engineer, a young man named Junho, who had transferred from a cargo hauler just hours ago. 2-1 mark. The Fury appeared inside the council defensive line. At this range, their big ships couldn't fire without hitting each other. But a destroyer could. My ray fired at point-blank range into a Council cruiser's engines. The explosion was massive. "Displacing again," Junho said calmly, as if he did this every day. They jumped out just as 3 Council ships fired at where they had been. The shots hit each other instead. Lieutenant Yunji was piloting again, and she flew like someone who had nothing to lose. Because she didn't. None of them did. They jinked between Council ships, using the enemy's own vessels as cover, firing when they had a shot, running when they didn't. A Council destroyer managed to anticipate their next displacement. It was waiting when they appeared. The shot tore through the Fury's side, killing 6 crew members instantly. The ship spun out of control. "Stabilizing," Yunji grunted, fighting the controls. The ship shuddered but held together. "We're still flying." "Barely," Junho said. "Hull breaches on 3 decks. Port weapons offline. Displacement drive at 40%. My ray looked at her tactical display. Around her, other human ships were dying. The Bison's hammer took 3 direct hits and exploded. The Guangzhou's shield lost power and drifted helplessly before being destroyed. They were being torn apart, but they were buying time. Every minute they fought was 1 minute closer to Earth's salvation. Admiral Taiyang's flagship was one of the largest human vessels, a heavy cruiser called Soul's Hope. It had more armor than most ships, more weapons, and a crew of 300. It had become the center of the human formation, the point around which all other ships rallied. Taiyang stood on the bridge and coordinated the battle. Fury, pull back and recharge. Dragon's Tooth, cover their retreat. Dagu's Pride, flank left and hit that carrier. He was conducting a symphony of destruction. Every ship knew its part. Every captain trusted his judgment. They were losing, but they were making the Council pay for every kill. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth," his communications officer said. "Dr. Doyon." Doyon's face appeared on screen. He looked exhausted. "Admiral, we're ready. Displacement will occur in 5 minutes. You need to get clear of Earth's gravity well, or you'll be pulled with us." Taiyang looked at his tactical display. If they pulled back now, the Council fleet would pursue them to Earth. They'd be in position to follow Earth wherever it went. The displacement would mean nothing. "Negative," Taiyang said. "We stay here. We keep them busy." "Admiral, you'll be stranded," Doyon said. "Light years from Earth with no support." "I know," Taiyang said quietly. "But Earth will be safe. That's all that matters." He smiled. "Besides, we're almost out of ships anyway. 6 left, counting mine. Won't make much difference." "Admiral, 5 minutes, Doctor. Make them count." Taiyang out. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "You all heard that. We have 5 minutes to give Earth its future. Let's not waste a second." The 6 remaining human ships charged forward in one final desperate attack. They had no shields left. Their hulls were riddled with holes. Their weapons were running on emergency power. They were already dead. They just hadn't stopped moving yet. Captain Myray took the Fury on its last displacement jump. They appeared directly above a Council battleship and fired everything. Every missile, every plasma bolt, every last bit of ammunition they had. The battleship's shields collapsed. Its hull cracked. It began to break apart. "That's for the Defiance," Myray said quietly. "Displacement drive is dead," Junho reported. "That was our last jump. Then we do this the old way," Myray said. "Yunji, ram them." Yunji didn't question the order. She pointed the Fury at another Council ship and pushed the engines to maximum. The ship accelerated, building speed, becoming a kinetic missile. The Council ship tried to turn away. Too slow. The Fury hit it amidships at 3,000 kilometers per hour. Both ships died in a ball of fire. Admiral Taiyang watched the fury die on his sensors. 5 ships left. No, 4. The Dragon's tooth just took a direct hit. 4 ships against 350. 1 minute until displacement. Someone said Taeyng looked at his crew. They were ready. They knew what came next. "It's been an honor," he said simply. "Sir, the Council fleet is preparing a massive volley," his tactical officer said. "They're going to fire everything at Earth." Taiyang smiled coldly. "Helm, put us between Earth and their fleet. All power to forward shields. Let's give them one more surprise." The Soul's Hope and the 3 remaining human ships formed a wall between Earth and the Council Armada. 4 tiny ships facing hundreds. 4 crews choosing to die so billions could live. The Council fleet fired. Thousands of weapons, all at once. The space between Earth and the Council fleet lit up like a sun. The 4 human ships absorbed the hits. Their shields lasted 3 seconds, and their hulls began to melt. Then they began to break apart. On the Soul's Hope, Taiyang felt the ship dying around him. "Did we buy enough time?" he asked. 30 seconds until displacement," someone said weakly. Taiyang closed his eyes. Close enough, then Earth vanished. The entire planet, its moon, its orbital stations, everything. It simply ceased to exist in that location. The quantum displacement network had worked. The Council's weapons fire passed through empty space where Earth had been. They had destroyed Taiyang's ships, but Earth was gone. Humanity had escaped. Ambassador Valthuan stared at empty space. His mind could not process what his eyes were seeing. Earth was gone. Not destroyed. Not hidden. Gone. Completely and utterly vanished from existence in this location. "Scan the system," he ordered. "Find it. Find the planet." His crew scanned, and scanned, and scanned. Nothing. Earth had simply disappeared. Battle Commander Rax then arrived on the bridge, his face pale. "What happened? Where is the planet?" "I don't know," Valthuan said quietly. "Our sensors detect nothing. It's as if Earth was never here." "That's impossible," Raxton said. "You can't move a planet. The energy requirements alone would be." He stopped. The humans had moved their ships instantly. Why not a planet? "They teleported their entire world," Valthuan whispered. "They moved their planet rather than surrender to us." The implications crashed down on him. The Council had just lost a military engagement to a species that had space travel for 3 years. Not just lost, but been humiliated. The humans had escaped. And worse, they had done it in a way that showed the Council's power meant nothing. "We need to find them," Raxton said. "Before the rest of the Council hears about this." Too late. Across the galaxy, Council member species were receiving sensor data from their own ships in the fleet. The news was spreading. Earth had vanished. The mighty Council had been defeated by primitives. Earth reappeared 0.3 light years from its original position. Not far in galactic terms, but far enough. The displacement had been violent. Earthquakes rolled across every continent. Tidal waves crashed against coastlines. But the planet held together. Dion's calculations had been correct. In the command center, Director G1 watched the sensor displays. They showed empty space around Earth. No Council fleet. No alien ships at all. They were alone. "We did it," someone said. "We actually did it." But G1 wasn't celebrating. She was looking at the casualty reports. Admiral Taiyang's entire fleet gone. Over 4,000 crew members dead. And that was just the military. The planetary displacement had caused damage planetside. Initial reports showed thousands more civilian casualties from earthquakes and floods. At what cost? She said quietly. Du Yun entered the command center. He looked 20 years older than he had that morning. The displacement network is burned out. It'll take months to rebuild, maybe years. We can't do that again. Can we at least move our ships? One asked. Small-scale displacements, yes. The individual drives on each ship still work. But moving the whole planet again? Doyon shook his head. Not for a long time. Ji-1 nodded slowly. Then we need to make sure they can't find us. How long until they can track us here? Impossible to say. They'll be looking at our displacement signature, trying to calculate trajectory. Could be days. Could be hours. Then we use the time we have, Guy-1 said. She activated the command console. All military personnel. This is Director Ji-1. Admiral Taiyang bought us our freedom with his life. We will not waste his sacrifice. Begin Operation Counterstrike. Captain Myray regained consciousness in a life pod. Her head pounded. Her left arm was broken, but she was alive. Around her in the small pod were 3 other crew members from the Fury. They had been blown clear when the ship exploded. Where are we? She asked. Drifting in the debris field, said Hyunwoo. He was alive too, though his face was covered in burns. Life support good for another 6 hours. Emergency beacon is active. Shut it off, Myray ordered. Captain, if we shut it off, no one will find us. Exactly, Myray said. I'd rather die out here than get picked up by the Council. She looked at the small pod's control panel. This thing have any sensors? Hyunwoo checked. Short range only. Why? Because I want to see what happens next. What happened next shocked everyone. Human ships began appearing in the debris field where Earth had been. Not the destroyed ships, but new ones. Fresh ones from Earth's reserves. 30 ships that had been in dock, undergoing repairs or refits. Not frontline warships, but they had weapons. And they had displacement drives. The Council fleet was scattered across light years. Their formation broken. Their supply lines stretched. They had been hunting a planet. Now the planet was gone, and they were vulnerable. The human ships attacked like wolves. They would displace in, hit a Council supply ship, and jump away before the warships could respond. They struck ammunition transports, fuel carriers, command vessels. Never the big warships, always the support craft dot within an hour. The Council fleet was in chaos. They couldn't defend against enemies that appeared from nowhere and vanished just as quickly. They couldn't maintain formation because they couldn't predict where the next attack would come from. Battle Commander Rax then tried to organize a defense. All ships tight formation. No vessel travels alone. Watch for quantum signatures. But his orders came too late. The humans had already crippled his logistics network. Ships were running out of fuel, out of ammunition, out of everything. And the humans kept coming. One human ship displaced directly next to the Council flagship. It was a small vessel, barely armed. It broadcast a single message to Rax, thin before jumping away. This is just the beginning. On the bridge, Rax then realized the terrible truth. The humans weren't trying to destroy his fleet. They were isolating it, cutting it off, making it helpless. This wasn't a battle anymore. It was a siege. Signal the Council, he said quietly. Request immediate withdrawal authorization. Sir, we outnumber them 10-1. Do it, Rax then snapped. We're already beaten. We just don't know it yet. Myray watched from her life pod as human ships systematically dismantled the Council fleet's effectiveness. She felt pride and grief in equal measure. Pride at what humanity had accomplished. Grief for all those who died making it possible. Captain, we're being hailed, Hyunwoo said. It's an Earth ship. The Daejeon's Vengeance pulled alongside the life pod and brought them aboard. The captain, a woman named Sora, greeted them personally. Good to see you alive, Captain Myray, Sora said. We could use experienced officers. What's the situation? Myray asked. Earth is safe. New location. No council ships. But the fleet that was here is scattered and weak. Director G1 wants to make sure they remember what happens when you threaten humanity. Myray looked at the tactical display. The council fleet was in full retreat now, ships jumping to FTL one by one, abandoning their slower vessels. It was a rout. How many council ships have we destroyed? She asked. In this phase? Maybe a dozen. But we've disabled or damaged over 100. They'll be limping home for months. Myray nodded slowly. And Admiral Taiyang's fleet? Sora's expression darkened. Total loss. All ships, all crews. But Earth sent a message in their honor. I think you should hear it. She played the recording. Director G1's voice filled the bridge. To the Galactic Council. You came to Earth demanding surrender. We refused. You brought war to our doorstep. We brought war to your fleet. Admiral Taiyang and 4,000 brave souls gave their lives to protect Earth. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten, nor forgiven. You wanted to see what humans do when cornered. Now you know. We fight. We die if we must. But we never surrender. Consider this your only warning. Leave Earth alone, or learn what it means to face humanity united. We are no longer the prey. We are the predators. And we just proved it. The bridge was silent. Then Sora said, We're also broadcasting something else. Technical specifications for basic displacement technology. We're giving it to the Council fleet so they can get home. What? Myray was stunned. Why would we do that? Because Director G1 wants them to carry a message back, Sora explained. She wants the Council to know we could have destroyed them completely. But we chose mercy. It's a demonstration of power and restraint at the same time. Myray understood. It was brilliant. The Council would go home beaten, humiliated, but alive. They would tell everyone what happened. And they would say that humanity could have killed them all, but didn't. It made Earth look strong and civilized at the same time. In the Council chamber, Ambassador Velthuin delivered his final report. The room was silent as he described the battle, the displacement, the counterattack. When he finished, no one spoke for a full minute. They beat us, the Hive Mother finally said. A 3-year-old spacefaring species beat us. They did more than beat us, said another representative. They humiliated us. Then they showed mercy. That's worse. Velthuin agreed. The humans had proven they could fight. But by sparing the fleet, they had proven they could choose not to. That made them more dangerous than any warrior species the Council had encountered. What do we do? Someone asked. The question hung in the air. The Council had two choices. Escalate to total war, which might cost millions of lives and still fail. Or accept Earth as an equal. We negotiate, the Hive Mother said finally. We offer them membership as a sovereign species. They'll never accept after what we did, Velthuin said. Then we'll make them an offer they can't refuse, the Hive Mother said. Full voting rights, territorial sovereignty, technology sharing, everything. Why would we give them so much? The Hive Mother looked at Velthuin with ancient eyes. Because if we don't, they'll take it anyway. And they'll burn down half the Council doing it. Better to negotiate now while they're still feeling merciful. 3 months after Earth vanished, a single Council ship approached humanity's new location. It moved slowly, broadcasting peace signals on every channel. Its weapons were powered down. Its shields were minimal. It was the most vulnerable a Council vessel had ever made itself. Director G1 watched the ship approach from the command center. Next to her stood Captain Myray, now promoted to Admiral after her actions in the battle. The scars on Myray's face were still healing, but her eyes were sharp and clear. Think it's a trick? Myray asked. Only one way to find out, G1 replied. She opened a channel. Council vessel, this is Earth. State your business. A new face appeared on screen. Not Velthuan. This alien had softer features, almost gentle eyes. It wore simple robes instead of the elaborate dress Velthuan had favored. Director G1, I am Ambassador Sektar of the Concordium. I come with an official offer from the Galactic Council. May I board your station to discuss terms? Terms? G1 said. We don't negotiate surrender. Not surrender, Sektar said quickly. Partnership. Membership. We wish to offer Earth a seat on the Council as the 848th member species. Full sovereignty. Full voting rights. No conditions except peace between our peoples. G1 glanced at Myray, who looked as surprised as she felt. Why? Because, Sektar said, you've proven you deserve it. And because we are wrong to demand your submission. The Council has existed for 2,000 years. In that time, we've grown comfortable with power, complacent. You reminded us that power must be earned, not assumed. You killed 4,000 of our people, G1 said coldly. You tried to conquer us. And now you want to be friends? Sektar bowed his head. No amount of words can undo that harm. But I can offer you truth. The Council is changing. 12 other species have seen what you did and demanded renegotiation of their own memberships. Some of our oldest practices are being questioned. You started something, Director. A revolution, quietly. Many of us are grateful. And the others? Myray asked. The ones who aren't grateful? They're afraid, Sektar admitted. Afraid of what you represent. Afraid that the old order is ending. But they won't move against you. The cost would be too high. G1 considered. Earth couldn't hide forever. Eventually, someone would find them. Better to engage on their own terms than wait to be discovered. You can board, she said. But you come alone. No guards, no weapons. And Admiral Myray will be present for all discussions. Agreed, Sektar said. The negotiations took 3 weeks. Sektar was patient and honest in a way that Velthuan had never been. He answered every question. He provided detailed information about Council structure, laws, and member species. He didn't try to hide the Council's flaws. We're not perfect, he told G1 during one late-night session. We've made mistakes. Conquered species that should have been welcomed. Imposed our will where we should have listened. But we're trying to be better. Your resistance gave us the push we needed. What happened to Velthuan? Myray asked. Demoted. Assigned to a minor diplomatic post in the Outer Rim. His career is over. Sektar paused. Battle Commander Raxton committed ritual suicide. He could not live with the shame of his defeat. Myray felt a complicated mix of emotions. Raxton had tried to destroy Earth, but he had also shown some honor at the end, pulling back before the slaughter became complete. I'm sorry for his death, she said, and meant it. As am I, Sektar said. He was a good soldier. He followed bad orders. The final treaty was surprisingly simple. Earth would join the Council as a fully sovereign member. No Council forces would enter Earth space without permission. Earth would share displacement technology with Council members who agreed to peaceful terms. In return, Earth would gain access to Council trade networks, scientific databases, and diplomatic protections. One more thing, G1 said as they prepared to sign. We want Admiral Taiyang's sacrifice recognized. A memorial. Not just for humans, but for all Council species to see. Agreed, Sektar said immediately. The Council will build a monument at the battle site. We'll call it the Taiyang Memorial. A reminder of the cost of arrogance. The treaty was signed. Earth officially became part of the Galactic Council. News spread across the galaxy within hours. Reactions were mixed. Some species celebrated. Others protested. But everyone agreed on one thing. The galaxy had changed. 6 months later, Captain Yunji stood on the bridge of Earth's first true diplomatic vessel. The ambassador's hope was sleek, modern, and equipped with the latest displacement technology. It also had enough weapons to fight off a small fleet, because Earth had learned never to go anywhere defenseless. Approaching Council Prime, her navigator said. Permission to dock granted. Yunji guided the ship into the massive station that served as the Council's headquarters. It was beautiful, a city in space, home to representatives from nearly 850 species. Earth's embassy was already being constructed, a building of glass and steel that somehow looked both human and alien. She stepped off the ship and was greeted by Sector. The ambassador had become Earth's strongest advocate in the Council. He had kept his word about everything. Captain Yunji, he said warmly, welcome to Council Prime. Your embassy is ready. Director G1 sent word she'll arrive next week. And the memorial? Yunji asked. Completed yesterday. Would you like to see it? They took a shuttle to the battle site. It was still just empty space, but now a structure floated there. It was simple and elegant, a ring of metal with 4,000 lights, one for each human who died. In the center, a holographic display showed Admiral Taiyang's face and his final words. It's been an honor. Yunji felt tears on her face. She wasn't ashamed. He'd be proud, she said. They all would be. The galaxy will remember them, Sector said. Already there are stories, songs, legends about the day Earth said no, about the admiral who gave his life for freedom. Back on Earth, scientist Doyon worked in his laboratory with a team of both human and alien researchers. The Council had sent their best scientists to learn about displacement technology. In return, they shared their own discoveries. The exchange was making both sides stronger. Fascinating, said one alien researcher, a small creature with 6 eyes. You achieved displacement through quantum manipulation. We've been trying gravitational folding for centuries with limited success. Your approach is so much more elegant. It's also unstable and energy intensive, Doyon replied. Your gravitational methods might be slower, but they're safer. Maybe we can combine them. Collaboration, the alien said, as if tasting the word. The Council hasn't truly collaborated with a species in, I don't remember how long. Then it's about time you started, Doyon said with a smile. On Council Prime, Director G1 prepared for her first official address to the full Council. She stood in the speaking chamber, looking up at representatives from across the galaxy. Some faces were friendly. Others were hostile. Most were simply curious. Members of the Galactic Council, she began. 3 months ago, you demanded our surrender. We refused. We fought. We bled. We died. And we won. Not because we were stronger, though we proved we were strong enough. Not because we were smarter, though we showed we were smart enough. We won because we believed in something worth fighting for. Freedom, the right to choose our own path, the right to stand as equals. She paused, letting her words sink in. Earth joins this council not as subjects, but as partners. We bring new technology, new ideas, and new perspective. But more than that, we bring a reminder. Power without consent is tyranny. Authority without challenge is corruption. And a galaxy where the strong dominate the weak is not a civilization. It's a prison. Some representatives shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded in agreement. The Council claimed control of Earth, G1 continued. Our reply shook you. Good. Stay shaken. Stay humble. Stay aware that the universe is vast and full of surprises. Because the next species you encounter might not be as merciful as we were. She stepped down. The chamber was silent. Then, slowly, one representative began to applaud. Then another. Then dozens. Not everyone joined in, but enough did to matter. 50 years later, an old woman sat in a garden on Earth. Admiral Myray was retired now, her hair white, her body marked by decades of service. Students came to interview her about the war, about the battle, about the day Earth said no. Were you scared? A young cadet asked. Terrified, Myray admitted. Every moment. But fear doesn't mean you stop. It means you keep going anyway. You think it was worth it? All those deaths? Myray looked at the sky. Up there, human ships traveled freely through the galaxy. Earth had colonies on a dozen worlds. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers. Human artists shared their work across the stars. All because Admiral Taiyang and 4,000 others had chosen to fight. Yes, she said simply. Freedom is always worth the price. At the Taiyang Memorial, automated systems kept the 4,000 lights burning bright. Ships passing through the area often stopped to pay respects. Not just human ships, but council vessels too. The memorial had become a pilgrimage site, a place where people came to remember that even the mightiest empire can be challenged. In the council chamber, humanity's representatives voted on galactic policy alongside species who had been traveling the stars for millennia. Earth's voice carried weight now, earned through blood and courage. When they spoke, others listened. And in a small office on Council Prime, Ambassador Sektar looked at a photo on his desk. It showed him and Director G1 shaking hands the day the treaty was signed. He kept it as a reminder that change is possible, that even old institutions can learn, that sometimes the best thing an empire can hear is a simple, firm no. The galaxy had changed. Not overnight, not completely, but meaningfully. 12 species had renegotiated their memberships. Dozens more were questioning old agreements. The Council was transforming from an empire into something closer to what it claimed to be, a community of equals. And it all started because Earth refused to kneel. Director G1, in her final years, wrote a memoir. The last line became famous across the galaxy. The Galactic Council claimed control of Earth. Earth's reply shook them. But more importantly, it changed them. And it changed us. We learned we were stronger than we knew. They learned they were not as infallible as they believed. And together, we built something better than either of us could have built alone. The book was translated into 400 languages and sold across the galaxy. Humans read it and felt pride. Aliens read it and felt hope. Everyone agreed on one truth. The day Earth said no was the day the galaxy began to grow up. In the end, that was Earth's real victory. Not the battle, not the displacement, not even the treaty. The real victory was proving that the future didn't have to look like the past. That power could be questioned. That empires could change. That sometimes the best weapon is simply the courage to say no. And Earth had said it loudly enough that the entire galaxy heard.